You know how Trump's going to steal this election?
I get the feeling you're about to tell me.
4 reasons why. Damn.
Theme song. Anyway, alright guys, welcome back. My name is Tony Brown.
Urban Bryant.
This is Relatively Conscious. This episode is 4 ways how Donald Trump's going to steal the election. First, shout out to our DJ for making the beat.
At DW Made That on social media.
The name of this episode is 4 ways how Donald Trump's going to steal the election.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, okay, so number 1, and this is, I guess we should call it this tagline, voting discrepancies. Yeah,
okay.
Alright, so recently he was in North Carolina. He told people to vote twice.
President Trump told his supporters that if they vote by mail, they should also then go vote in person.
And then if they tabulated very late, which they shouldn't be doing, they'll see you voted, and so it won't count. So send it in early, and then go and vote.
Yeah. So tell us what's this. Most people are going to see that clip and laugh it off as like, oh, that's just Trump being Trump. But why is it that we should take it seriously as a threat to steal the election?
So, first off, when the president tells anybody to do something illegal, which voting twice is, like attempting to do that is illegal, you should, probably take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But let's say, hypothetical, let's see if we play it out in North Carolina, where I vote, mail in, I send it in, make my choice, cool. Everything's on the up and up. They receive my ballot, they tabulate that, everything's done. I go in to double check, so they say. Mm-hmm. I'm in line all day. I'm at the church. I'm at the school. I'm at the library. And the line is stupid long.
Yeah.
This is different than usual because the person in front of me and the person behind me, they both already voted mail in, but we're double checking. I get in there. They could turn me away. So we're doing everything's going well. They turn me away. I've wasted everybody's time.
Right.
And the people who didn't, wouldn't, couldn't, whatever, for whatever reason, do mail-in voting have now been waiting so long that maybe I gotta go make dinner for the kids. So this is not gonna work.
My lunch break's on an hour, ain't got time for this, right?
Right. Worst case scenario is they don't detect it because counties run these elections, and you know where you live.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And these are people who volunteered to do this job, so it's not always the best. And then you go and vote twice. And I don't think I need to explain that part.
Yeah, because the way most mail-in voting works, tabulation, it is done after the election. So you have election night on November 3rd, and the next day they will start counting the mail-in voting tablets. So they wouldn't know you voted twice, and really it's supposed to be in the second counting of votes, there are mail-in votes, they would find that you had already voted. But that, you're trusting somebody who's probably 67 years old to find a mistake, right? Mm-hmm. After going through thousands to millions of different voting tabulations.
We know this is a real problem because voter fraud does happen. It's so minuscule that it doesn't tip the scales in an election.
Yeah.
But when you have the president encouraging people to do it, it could then happen in large volume and actually affect the election.
Yeah. Also, when he told people to drink bleach, inject bleach, and sunlight up behind, people actually did that.
Hydrochloroquine.
There we go. Yeah. People kept buying it, and there was a shortage of said drug. Right. So the president's words has meaning and has weight. Reason number 2, October surprise. So real quick, go through the history of October surprises that you probably heard. The one you're probably thinking the most of, 2008, when the sky fell out, when the sky actually fell and the recession started, right? That was an October surprise during that election.
Numbers on the markets today. At one point, the market fell as if down a well, over 700 points.
Apple shares are just getting hammered this morning.
We're down by between 3 and 4.5% generally across these markets. Let's talk about the speed with which we are watching this market deteriorate. What in the world is happening on Wall Street?
Or 2012, when the tape came out where Romney said 47% of people probably won't vote for me.
Mm-hmm.
There are 47% of the people who will vote for the president no matter what. All right, there are 47% who are with him, who are dependent upon government, who believe that they are victims, who believe that government has a responsibility to care for them.
2016, it was the Comey letter, right? And so
the emails.
The emails, right? With a Comey letter saying a reopen investigation into the emails, which turned out to be nothing. Thank you, Mr. Weiner, for that.
So basically, an October surprise is some crazy happening that could affect the election, and it happens a month before the actual voting.
Yes. And where it's shaping up for having October surprise up is the CDC has been telling states/counties/cities to start getting ready for a vaccine in October or November to come out, right? The idea is that they're going to push a vaccine, and Donald Trump's going to get up and try to say we found a cure to COVID right before the election, right? And so, what are the downfalls of this, right? So, like, most people hear us say that, be like, well, a vaccine's a good thing.
Yes,
so, what are you guys talking about? Yeah.
So, shout out to black skeptics who have, in this case, a kind of healthy suspicion about anything medically that gets pushed out. Like, you know, if that's the attitude that you would describe, rushing out, pushing out, making sure it just gets to as many people as possible, as fast as possible. Something that you're going to inject into your body that's supposed to help you reject a virus, but if done poorly, can, as we've seen with any number of pharmaceuticals or exploratory surgeries, go horribly wrong and put you in a worse state where you started it. So, even if the vaccine actually doesn't get to people and there's just an announcement about it, or if the vaccine is a placebo and they're just pumping water in your veins, regardless, a deception of that scale is just going to be bad.
Yeah. The other October surprise could be Rudy Giuliani has been in Ukraine for the past months, doing whatever rats do. And he was in Ukraine, and basically we're saying he's trying to produce a documentary and trying to find some type of evidence for wrongdoing by Hunter Biden, right? That whole scandal that was, and they want to try to bring that back up for October. Now, I think that's very hard to stick, because at the end of the day, most people read the Hunter Biden situation as Joe Biden got his son a job. And if you look at the President Trump, every one of his kids got a job.
This is true.
Yeah, and most of them don't even deserve the job. So Joe Biden giving Hunter Biden a job, most people don't really see that as an issue, right? And it feels very weird seeing Donald Trump saying that on stage, right? That's why they kind of removed the way that to Law and Order. The third reason, right? So the third reason why Donald Trump makes the election is not accepting the results, right?
Yeah.
And this is something he teased last time, right? So he just kind of flirted with it, but then he, messed around and won the election, so do we not deal with that? But it has been said, and it has been talked about that he would not accept the results of the election, right?
Do you make the same commitment that you will absolutely, sir, that you will absolutely accept the result of this election?
I will look at it at the time. I'm not looking at anything now. I'll look at it at the time.
And also, election night, as you know, it's not going to happen the same way, right? So when you have an election, it takes a minute to come in. The results take a minute to come in. And the president refused to accept them. My main worry is violence.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's talk about that.
If the president refuses to accept the results, you're linking into a number of things that the president has permitted and encouraged that are violent, dangerous, radical, extremists, all of the above.
Yeah.
So we're talking QAnon, that anonymous person who is not real.
Yeah.
Like, it's just an amalgam of hackers and trolls who are constantly spinning Trump's words to put this conspiracy theory out that he's trying to stop the child sex ring, underground Democrats, lizard people, etc., etc.
1 second. Part of QAnon believes that JFK Jr. is still alive and is helping Donald Trump.
Yes, it is.
Which...
So these people aren't right. They're not all the way there. They're believing literally anything.
Yeah.
And they have acted in violence. The main one, folks refer to as Pizzagate.
28-year-old Edgar Welch was arrested in Washington Sunday afternoon outside Comet Ping Pong, a popular family pizza parlor. D.C. police say Welch fired at least one round into the restaurant floor with an AR-15 rifle like this one on his Facebook page. No one was injured.
That's the type of people we're dealing with.
Because he thought there was kids in the basement.
Yes. Child sex ring, trafficking going through the basement. there aren't a lot of basements in DC. It's so small.
There was some basement, which I mean, you can see a basement from the outside of a building. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. QAnon, Pizzagate.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the wildest part.
Yeah.
But then you got the Kyle Rittenhouses, the militias, right?
Yeah.
Those who are willing to take up arms, Second Amendment to defend liberties, whatever, especially when it's brown people.
Yes.
All of these forces working together and more. Shout out neo-Nazis.
Yeah.
Charlottesville.
Yes.
All these different actors, and the 2020 being 2020, people just not having money, people being desperate. We've already seen riots. We're just ready to rage.
Yeah.
And he goes, the lizard people, the rapists, the Satanists, the Democrats,
the deep state.
The deep state has done it again.
Yeah.
And now it's time to roll out, because I'm not accepting this, and you shouldn't either.
Yeah. And then there's widespread violence, or just voter intimidation. You pull to the polling place, there's some, white dude more likely staying outside with a gun talking about, are you coming to vote twice? No, leave me alone. But like for me, I'm not scared of a homeboy, right? But like for other people, that's intimidation. Why?
Absolutely.
Well, I didn't want to vote anyway, and y'all keep telling me I gotta vote, so I guess I'll go. But there's some dude that sat out here with the AK-47. Why should I have to put up with this today?
People mostly don't want to deal with politics because there's a lot of drama involved, a lot of extra stuff. I just want my kids to have a good school. I want, roads, right, military protection, simple stuff. And y'all want to make it all this extra, fights and bickering and people standing off and protesting, and then you brought that to the polls. I'm gonna have this. I'll see you at the crib.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. Last one is foreign interference, right? And so this one is a little more murky because recent developments that most of the memes and former stuff that Russia was doing is not being done by domestic people, right?
Yes.
Mainly QAnon crowd, right? But there is still it was a Senate hearing document came out basically saying that Russia is trying to influence the election still. They're still operating the same way. Last time they tried to hack into new voting machines. They weren't able to do a very good job of it. But that was the first go around. So first time succeed, try again. They're going to try again, right? So the fourth way he can steal the election. It is just straight up foreign interference steering the election, right? No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And this one seems to be the one that most people. I don't know if to say we forgot about Russia.
We did.
We just kind of like, Putin is Putin, and we just kind of.
We had a double hurricane this year, a pandemic. We tried to impeach that man, didn't work.
Yeah.
2020 is action-packed, racial violence. California is on fire.
Yeah.
Like, everything is happening. And so, he's still shockingly, gut-turningly buddy-buddy with the Kremlin. And, as much as he likes to berate and make an enemy of China because they're oppressive and they treat their people horribly and they're putting people in re-education camps and making people disappear, all bad things, China's, we can't tolerate that.
Yeah.
Russia does the exact same thing, but, they say Donald Trump's a good man. They say that people ought to get off his back, and that's all he needs to start dapping people up. So it's not beyond belief that there's going to be fire.
Yeah. Also, to explain the reach of the evilness of the Kremlin, one of Putin's main people who called out against him for being, a dictator without the title, right? He got poisoned, and he was in a coma. He just woke out of a coma. A couple of years ago, I want to say last year maybe, they poisoned a former spy of the Soviet Union, the Russian, now Russia, the British. They poisoned him and his daughter on a bench in Great Britain, in London, right? So they are willing to kill, right? So Putin believes in bringing back the glory of the Soviet Union. He hasn't got to the size yet, but he's brought back the tactics, right? If Putin was a Bond villain, he is doing a good job of it, right? So this is the four ways how Donald Trump's going to the election. First, with voter irregularities. Is that correct?
Voter irregularities.
Yes. An October surprise, a mail-in voting issues that also comes into that play. Not accepting the results, and then foreign interference. Yes.
The moral of the story is the only win is an overwhelming win.
Yes.
Go vote.
Stay woke. Keep keep your third eye open. You know. My name is James Brown.
Urban Bryant.
This is a kind of a podcast.
To be a pessimist means that you have agreed that human life is an academic matter. So I'm forced to be an optimist. I'm forced to believe that we can survive whatever we must survive.